Welcome to Salesology, conversations with sales leaders, the art of faster, easier, more profitable sales. When you're ready to transform your sales for today's transforming market, we've got you covered with your host, the queen of cold calling and founder of Salesology, award-winning author, speaker, sales trainer, and coach, Wendy Weiss.
Hi, welcome to Salesology, conversations with sales leaders, the art of faster, easier, more profitable sales. And I'm your host, Wendy Weiss. I am the founder of Salesology and the Salesology creator of the Salesology prospecting method. I am also known as the queen of cold calling. And today, my very special guest is Yaniv Zaid. He is an international lecturer and consultant. He is known as Dr. Persuasion, and he's also an economist and an attorney, and he acts as a business consultant to government departments, private firms, and public organizations. Dr. Zaid is recognized worldwide as an expert in the fields of public speaking, marketing, sales, negotiation, and most importantly, persuasion. And he is also the author of 11 best-selling books, including Public Speaking, Creative Marketing, and Sales Bible. So welcome, Yaniv Zaid. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Wendy. And not every day you get to talk to a queen, queen of cold calling. So it's an honor for me to be here. I heard lots of your chapters from your podcast, and I loved it. So it's a privilege for me to be here.
Well, thank you. And I'm very happy you're here as well. So let's begin at the beginning, which is where I always begin. How did you become Dr. Persuasion?
Okay, great. So I'm 47 years old now. I'm married for the second time with two kids, live in Israel, in Tel Aviv. And when I studied law and economy in Haifa University. Haifa is the city I was born in north of Israel. I became one of the members of the debate society in my university, and I started debating worldwide. The university sent me to participate in world championships, and I got many titles. One of the titles, I reached semi-final in a European Championship of Debate. I reached third place in the World Championship in South Africa in 2002. And then I noticed that there is a really big need for people to know how to talk in front of people and to sell their ideas, sell their product and service. But there is also a very big gap between what people need and what they teach you in school, because I study law and economy, and in law, they taught me everything except three things. One is how to market yourself as a lawyer. Two is how to talk in front of judges in courthouse. And three is how to write legal documents. And then you go out to the market. What do you need to do? You need to do three things. You need to market yourself or sell yourself. You need to talk in front of judges. And you need to write the legal documents. And I also study economy. And in economy, 3 years of degree, nobody talked to me about sales and marketing in economy, not in geographic degree or something like that. So they taught me about all kind of theories, micro theories, but they didn't talk about money or about marketing. So there is a big gap when you finish. You finish school, you finish university, you go out to the field, and people expect you to know how to promote yourself, how to do things, and nobody teaches you that in university. So my mission in life became to explain to people how to improve their marketing abilities, sales abilities, public speaking abilities, negotiation abilities, and to narrow the gap between what they need to know and what they actually learn in university.
Okay, so where did the name Dr. Persuasion come from?
Well, I wrote a PhD about persuasion in law, how to persuade judges in courthouses. I wrote it 15 years ago at the beginning of the digital era, so I wrote it about how to do it in a digital era. It was very innovative back then. The university sent me to many places, and back then I already had my company. I started my company when I was in the first degree. So when I finished my PhD, I decided to brand myself as Dr. Persuasion, because I was the only one worldwide back then that wrote a PhD about persuasion in law. And then it was a brand that this is the brand I picked. I love superheroes, I love to see Marvel films, etc. So it was like a superhero, Dr. Persuasion from the Middle East. So it sounds great. And luckily for me, the brand is successful.
I'm curious about how you used that brand, Dr. Persuasion. Um, can you tell us a little bit more about that? How you were able to use it to gain recognition?
Yeah. First of all, as the minute I decided my professional identity is Dr. Persuasion, I started writing about it everywhere. Every professional article I wrote, I signed as Dr. Yaniv Zaid, Dr. Persuasion. My website, I did website for Dr. Persuasion. Till now, my website is drpersuasion.com. I opened the Facebook page and LinkedIn page everywhere. So I had lots of places where Dr. Persuasion was the brand. And in my lectures, I always keep telling the organizers that invite me, please call me Dr. Persuasion, call Dr. Persuasion on stage and have it in the marketing writing. So when you spread the idea, you need to be in as many platforms as possible. And of course, it takes some time, it takes some years, but eventually people start addressing you as the brand you picked.
That is true. I had a very similar experience. Before I started my current company, I used to do business development on behalf of clients. And one of my clients kept calling me his queen of cold calling.
Yeah.
And I just kept it and started introducing myself as the queen of cold calling. And people might not always remember my name, Wendy Wise, but they remembered, oh, that cold calling queen.
Yeah, first of all, it's a great copywriting. Queen of Cold Calling is a great copywriting. It also says Salesology. It's also a great name for a podcast also.
Oh, well, thank you so much. So let's talk a little bit about persuasion, and let's start, what does the word persuasion mean to you?
It means to me that the people, they have their own mind, their own thinking. So we need to change their thinking in a positive way. Because if, for example, I would like people to buy from me, but they already decided to buy from their own reasons, then it doesn't require persuasion. They already decided. I just need to give them something. For example, if I come to a machine, to a food machine or drinks machine, and I just put a coin and I press a button, then a can pops up, right? So it didn't require some sales or marketing. But if I come to someone and their early decision is not to buy from me, or they don't know me yet, or they're willing to spend their money elsewhere, and then I convince them during the process, during the conversation, the talk, that they need to pick me and not others. They need to choose me, not my competitors. They need to maybe to buy more than to buy me more budget than what they decided in the first place. There is a persuasion. So persuasion for me is changing the mind of people in a positive way, from their early thinking to what I decided that they should do.
I like that you added in a positive way.
Yeah.
Because I find sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of people seem to think that persuasion or using these tools to persuade is a negative thing, and it's manipulative, and they should not do it. And I'm always a little perplexed by salespeople that take that stance. So is that something you've encountered as well?
Yeah, of course. First of all, it's very important to have positive values, and offer something to clients only when you think they need it. Don't offer it to people. I'm talking about long-term relationship, because you can always sell to someone, for the short term, they will buy from you, and then they will hate you and not use the product or the service, or don't see the digital course, or don't read the book, etc. So I'm saying you can sell to people or offer your products or yourself or your services to people only if they need it, only if it create value for them. Otherwise, don't sell it to them. And I think many salesperson, they do it not in a good way. But we are recording this in 2024, and today people have what I call a fake radar or bullshit radar. So if you're not authentic, and if the product is not for them, or if you're just looking for the money, not for the value, not for the relationship, they will notice it, and then they won't buy from you. So I think the principle to succeed in sales today is to be authentic. This is number one. Number two is to love people, love your clients, because if you love your clients, they will love you back. And number three is don't assume basic assumptions. Just target decide who's your target audience, and then who are the people who can really enjoy your product or services or yourself, and then just to them offer those services or products.
Okay, so I just heard you say find your target audience. So I'm assuming that means you can't persuade people that aren't in your target audience. You have to find the right people.
Yeah, you can persuade some of them, but if you'd like, we all have a limited amount of money and energy and time. So if you'd like to focus your energy, focus your time, and spend your money in a wise way, then you need to initiate to identify your target audience, to differentiate yourself from your competitors, and then you need to spend your time, energy, and money in the right place. And you can persuade others as well in a worse conversion rate. But if you'd like to have a successful experience and to succeed in business and promote your activities, then my advice is to pick the target audience and just focus on those targets. And again, it all reflects on which problems are you solving, which needs are you answering. So the target audience you can pick according to those problems and needs.
Right. So I'm curious for your take on this, because I have clients that come to me sometimes, and for one reason or another, they are unhappy with how their sales team is executing. And they want the people that are on their sales team, they want them to be doing something that's different from what they're doing or more than what they're doing. Sometimes I've had clients say to me, they won't pick up the phone. They want them to pick up the phone, but they won't do it. So for our listeners, if you're a manager or a business owner and you're managing a sales team, even if that sales team is just one person, how do you set it up so that the sales team, they're executing on what you need them to be executing on, and they are effective?
Yeah, so it's a great question. First of all, I also familiar with this problem because I also work with lots of companies, big organizations, and small and medium businesses, and it is a problem of many business owners. So first of all is pick the right persons, because you need to love sales. Sales is a profession. Sometimes people make mistakes and think, okay, just talking to people and I can talk. Okay, so no problem. And sometimes business takes people that are not relevant to sales or they don't know sales. They can be, for example, family members of the owner, or someone that was, I met a guy who was an engineer in a tech company and then just made him, they call it even sales engineer, okay, instead of salesperson. You're an engineer, so now start calling to clients and talk about the product. So no, he knows engineering. He studied it in school. He doesn't know sales, so he can learn sales and can, promote himself in this area, but he doesn't know it, and to call it a sales engineer, it doesn't work. So first of all, pick the right persons. Right persons meaning they know how to sell, they enjoy sales, they love this performance, they understand it's an occupation. You need to promote yourself and to get better all the time to become the best version of yourself. This is one thing. Second of all, as I mentioned before, you need to love people. If people don't love other people, they don't love to talk to other people, they don't love to listen to other people, they don't enjoy many conversations a day, they're not right to be a salesperson. So again, many of the problems is just picking the wrong people. And then after you pick the right people, and because of the right reasons, and they understand that it's profession, and they love talking to people, they need to love the product or service that they are selling. Because sometimes you get the right people, they just don't understand the value of the product or the service enough. They don't know how to handle objections or questions. Sometimes I see, for example, that they themselves, they don't buy the product. For example, if I sell to someone solar systems, very expensive solar system to their house, and I live in a small apartment and I don't have solar systems, so it will be more difficult for me to sell this system than for someone who has a private house and they have solar systems on the roof. Okay, so I'm not being authentic because I don't walk the talk. I sell to some people products that I don't buy. So usually I need in order for my employees to be loyal to the company, they need themselves to use the products. They need to believe in the products. Even if they don't use the product, they need to believe in the value it provides to the target audience. For example, I can sell, cosmetic products for women 60 years old or more, something like that, and I'm not the target audience. But if I understand the needs, if I understand what are the problems that because of that they're going to use the cosmetic products, then I can sell the cosmetic products without even understanding, the chemical ingredients of the products. So you need to find the right people. You need to understand that sales is occupation. You need to find people that love other people and that believe in your product. This is, let's say, step number one in order to succeed with your sales team. And only then you can start telling them exactly or teaching them how to handle each objections, what to say, how to describe the product, etc. But the basic is loving people and loving their products.
Okay. So it sounds to me, from what you've just said, it doesn't really have anything to do with persuading your salespeople to take certain actions so much as it has to do with finding the right people. And if you don't have the right people, it sounds like you cannot persuade them to take the actions that you want them to take.
You can persuade, but it will be more difficult. And the best way to solve a problem is to avoid it. So if you take the right people from the begin with, and you have the right team, sometimes a good salesperson is doing the job of 5 persons that are not good as him. In each company there is the Pareto law, 20-80, so 20%, 80%. So 20% of the call center or the sales team is doing 80% of the deals. He's closing 80% of the deals. So you need to find, I believe in a talent market, you need to find the right people. And yes, you can convince everyone to sell. Sometimes people say because they don't have choice, this is their job. But to be better in what they do, they need to understand it's an occupation. And again, you can teach people how to do things, but if it doesn't come from the inside, they don't love it, they don't love to talk to people. Again, with people, the clients have a fake radar or bullshit radar. They will identify that it's just a salesperson there and it's faking it, and he doesn't know the product enough. That he doesn't or she doesn't use the product. So why should I buy if the guy is selling to me doesn't believe in the product? So but again, I can give you another example. There is competition. Sometimes if you'd like to encourage people, to encourage your sales team to sell something, you do a competition. You have a deadline. You say whoever sell the most the biggest amount of products, he will get vacation or something like that. But usually what happens is if you have, for example, 10 people and 2 of them are really, really good salesperson and 6 are mediocre and 2 are not good. So the 2 people that are not good, they won't even join the competition because they say, "Oh, I don't have a chance. I don't have a chance of winning." Okay, and the 6 will try, but they will see that the 2 talented guys, they will immediately start selling fast, and they are the candidate for winning the vacation. So eventually, what you do by the competition is, again, those 2 people will win the competition. So why do you do it? You do it in order for all the people to know that this product is now important for you, important enough to have a competition. But usually it don't provide extra motivation to people who don't love selling.
Okay. So again, it sounds like you can't, unless I'm misunderstanding you, Yaniv, it sounds like you cannot persuade salespeople to do what they don't want to do.
Today it's very hard. Again, it's very hard. Yeah. And if we talked about talking about investing your time and energy in the right place, I would invest it in recruitment of good people. By the way, it's a challenge for most businesses. It's a challenge. And again, my tip is don't just rely on people. Sometimes there is a family business and they just I give my son or my daughter just sell products. But if their mission is to help me with the business and they would like to take the business to be the owner one day, it's great. But if they would like to be an artist or something like that, and I force them to work in the family business, then usually sales won't work. And they do it. Maybe they do it. Maybe they even become good at it, but they won't be excellent, and it won't be a long-term relationship.
So we're going to pause now for a word from our sponsor, and when we come back, I want to hold your feet to the fire. I'd like to hear some fundamental do's and don'ts about the art of persuasion, especially as it relates to sales. So now, a word from our sponsor, the Salesology Vault. Just about every guest that I've interviewed on the Salesology Conversations with Sales Leaders podcast has had a free gift for our listeners. So what we've done is we've taken all of those gifts and we've put them all in one place just for you. We call it the Salesology Vault, and it's packed full of free gifts from sales leaders, sales experts, marketing gurus, revenue generation experts, and we add another gift every single week. So when we release a podcast, Monday mornings, we add a gift. So you can log in as often as you'd like and download as many gifts as you'd like. It's all free. So the link to the Salesology Vault is in the show notes. As soon as you finish listening to this podcast, go to the show notes, click on the link for the Salesology Vault, download your gifts. You will be glad that you did. And we are back with my special guest, Dr. Yaniv Zaid. He is an international lecturer and consultant. He is known as Dr. Persuasion. His company name is also Dr. Persuasion. He has branded himself well. And now we're going to talk about do's and don'ts of persuasion. So welcome back, Yaniv.
Thank you. So the do's, I think you need to sell the problem before selling the solution, because most salesperson, when they sell something, they sell you the solution. They talk about the product, they talk about the service, they talk about even the technical aspect, the ingredients of the cosmetic products, what is behind the engine of the car they're selling, and stuff like that. And I say, don't sell the solution, sell me the problem, because if I understand as a client the problem, the bigger the problem, the more I'm willing to pay for it, and I'm willing to pay a lot for it. So if, for example, if you take a bouquet of flowers, a regular bouquet of flowers, you can charge, let's say $100. Now, if you call it a bridal bouquet, a bouquet that you use in a wedding, then you can charge it, $500, 5 times more. But now, those are the same flowers. What is the difference? The difference is the need. Because if I buy a bouquet of flowers, a bridal bouquet for the wedding, I don't buy regular flowers. I buy, the feeling of a $1 million feeling, and I buy the pictures that they will take picture of me as a beautiful bride, and I buy the dream of a queen for a day, and I buy the winning image of me sitting the bride and groom with their kids 10 years from now, looking at the photos album and say, oh, look how beautiful mommy was, and 30 years from now they look at the album, look how beautiful a grandmother was. This is what I buy when I buy the bridal bouquet. So if I understand as a client the need and the problem, I'm willing to sell more, or I'm willing to buy more. So this is number one, do and don'ts. Don't sell the solution, sell me the problem, and then sell your product as a solution to the problem, or an answer to the need, or a cure to my pain. Another do and don'ts is don't talk about yourself in a subjective way. For example, I'm great, I know what I do, this product is great, because it doesn't sound objective, it sounds subjective, right? Because people will tell themselves, or think in the subconscious level, they will say, okay, of course he's talking about the product and he's saying the product is great, but because he has an interest, because he sells it, maybe he get a commission or something like that. But what you should do is talking about, let's say, objective evidence. It's called social proof. So don't just talk about how great the product is. You can show me objective evidence, social proof about the product. For example, how many clients bought this product, celeb clients that bought this product, numbers. If you talk about myself, the amount of years that I've been doing this, the products, how many countries they sell this product, how many, for example, achievements me or the products, how many achievements did we won, appearance on the media, okay, diplomas, professional diplomas, professional experience, everything like this is I'm not saying I'm an expert, I'm just showing you I'm an expert. I'm not saying the products are good, I'm just showing you this, because I've never met a salesperson who comes to a client and says, well, you know what, I'm a mediocre, but please, just buy from me, because give me a chance, or something like that. Or the product is not good, or it's brand new, I don't know anything about it, but just take a risk and buy it. Nobody says it. Everyone will say they are great. So what is the difference between an actual expert and someone just saying he's an expert? The social proof, the proven evidence, the objective evidence that can show you, and this is will gain trust in the eyes of the client. So don't talk about yourself, but do talk about social proof and objective evidence. Another thing is don't try to brand yourself as Superman. Okay, do brand yourself as Batman. Now, what is the difference? They're both superheroes and they both look like human beings. But Superman is not a human being. He came from another planet. Okay, so if, for example, Superman will have a workshop how to fly, and I sit in the first row and I write everything, and it tells you exactly what to do. Go to the roof of the highest tower. The tower, just check the wind, check the view, check the first step or something like that, and we'll do exactly what he says. I'm still going to fall because he is really from another planet. He knows how to fly. I don't. But Batman, if you'll do a workshop how to fly, then they will tell me, okay, I was once like you. I'm a regular person. By the way, I had a more difficult life than you because the Joker killed my parents when I was little, and I fell into a cave, and I was afraid of bats, afraid of darkness. And then I taught myself how to fly, and then I can teach you. So, and then I can relate to him more. So because he's authentic, because he has falses, not just advantages, but also disadvantage, because he shows me the lab hours, not just the success. So sometimes salesperson or business owners, they try to have a brand, of I'm an expert in everything I do. I'm like a Superman, I just succeed in everything or stuff like that. And then you just see on the media or the Facebook page, just success. And people don't relate to it because we are all humans and we all do mistakes and we all do, we have success and we have failures. So talk about the failures as well. There is in high tech today, there is a line of lecture that's called fuck up nights. What is fuck up nights? Is entrepreneurs talking about their failures when they establish their companies. Now, usually the twist is it's my first company. In my first company, I lost $100 million of investors. My second company, I got bankrupt and got divorced. And my fourth company is called Facebook or PayPal or something like that. Okay, you usually don't hear something like in my first company, I lost $100 million of investors' money. And my second company, I got bankrupt, and today I'm homeless. I live next to the door, something like that. So it's a lose and win, or failure, success. But people are enjoying hearing your failure stories. So be authentic and talk to the clients also about the problems of the product, about bad experience you had, and how did you overcome it. And people love these stories. So don't try to be Superman. Try to be Batman.
I'm going to try to be Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman is great as well. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm curious about, because I was reading on your website about using stories, and how do stories work as social proof?
Stories are great because, first of all, we all know stories. Since the minute we are born, people read stories to us when we are babies. So it's a framework we know. It's something we know. So first of all, people love stories. Second of all, during a story, stories react on our subconscious level, not the conscious level. So during the story, I can have name dropping, lots of achievements, lots of data. If I tell you a story, once I lectured in a very big conference, and then someone came to me and told me that, and I told them that. So basically, I'm telling you about our conversation, but my name dropping is I performed many years ago in a big conference. This is something also you remember. So if I will tell you directly, I'm very good at what I do, I'm an excellent, I'm great, I can help you, it doesn't sound objective, it sounds subjective. But if I tell you a story, and inside the story, I can put lots of data, lots of name dropping, lots of social proofs, then the story will, reach your subconscious level, which is more efficient than the conscious level, and then you will believe more in me, and then you trust me more, and then you like me more, because if you feel, if through the story we feel some common ground, and then the chance that you will buy from me is much higher.
So, Yaniv, if people want to connect with you, where can they find you?
First of all, they can find me on my website in English, drpersuasion.com. It's drpersusion.com. In my website, there's also many articles, and also I have a mailing list in English. I have in more languages, but in English. So you can, in my website, you can put your mail and name, and you will get some manuals and lots of content. Also, you can find me in all of the social media, Yaniv Zaid, Yaniv Zaid, on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just write it and you will find my channels. And also my email, my personal email is yaniv@yanivzaid.com, YANIV@YANIVZAID.com. So you can write me questions, and I will be happy to answer any question you may have. And if you liked this half an hour with me and you would like more materials, more content, and more maybe to consult with me, then I will be happy to be in touch with you.
Right. And for those of you that did not grab a pen and jot down all of those URLs fast enough, we are putting everything, all of Dr. Zaid's social media, his website, his email, it will be in the show notes. So as soon as you finish listening to this podcast, if you want to connect with Yaniv Zaid, go to the show notes, pick your link and click on it. So thank you all for listening to Salesology, Conversations with Sales Leaders, with my very special guest, Yaniv Zaid, who is an international lecturer, consultant, and is known as Dr. Persuasion. If you found value in listening to today's podcast, then please think about one business owner or one entrepreneur, somebody that you know that you think might also find value in listening to today's podcast. And please do share the link with them. And till we meet again, visualize yourself surrounded by cash, really large bills.
You've been listening to Salesology, Conversations with Sales Leaders, the art of faster, easier, more profitable sales. Be sure to follow so that you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, please leave a rating and review, and be sure to share it with your friends. Tune in every week for more exciting insights and wisdom on transforming sales. And until next time, visualize yourself surrounded by cash, very large bills.